Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another vlog. This should be the third one you guys see for the full Moon Readathon. This is hosted by Jan, so go check her out. I will have her tagged down below once again, and you guys can go check out her video on the full Moon Readathon, or you guys can check out my last two. I did talk about my mummy one quite a bit in my last video, so you can still go check that out for kind of like the introduction of my full Moon Readathon, my first books I read for this readathon. But my last video I posted was my clown video, and I had a lot of fun with it. Definitely read some slashers and some carnival clown books. I had a really good time with that. So yeah, go check out that video if you haven't already. I have been pretty successful so far with my reading for the full Moon Readathon. I'm going to apologize that I do have neighbors, I think on both sides, like mowing or doing yard work, so it's a little loud today, but I have to get this done before James gets home and before we head out, because we are finally having our first river day of the summer, and it's so sad because it's August. But because of that, I'm gonna be in nature, so I thought what better time than to do a werewolf card. So the werewolf card consists of a book with a wolf involved, a special edition or alternate cover, and then the activity prompt is spend time in nature. So I'm going to be able to get to all of those with my book picks and with going to the river today, and I'm so excited. This will probably be maybe a shorter vlog, depending on how much I ramble about these books, just because I plan on finishing my wolf card today and tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going to take both of my book picks with me. I have a Stephen Graham Jones and a Stephen King. To the river today. I might not get a whole lot done because we are meeting friends there, and these are some of my friends that I haven't got to hang out with that much this summer, so I'm really excited to see them, and yeah, just have a river day with the boys. The boys are so excited. We are packing a cooler. I'm gonna make a spicy like chicken salad to bring, and some snacks, and yeah, just make a whole day of it. I will take you guys along with me for some of it, but again, I don't know how much I'm really going to vlog or read today because of that, but I will be at least getting my activity prompt done and maybe starting one of these today.
How's it feel? It feels satisfied, I was right. Swerved it away, gone without a trace. Left me here to waste, away. Hang on, saving face, sleep in bloody stains. Leave me here to waste, away. Tell me how the fuck it feels, girl, when shit starts getting fucking real, girl. When it all starts to what's your deal, girl? Like who gon' have you now? Swept it away, gone without trace. Left me here to waste, away. Hang on, saving face, sleep in bloody stains. Leave me here to waste, away. Satisfied, I was right. Satisfied, I was right. Satisfied, I was right. Satisfied, I was right. Satisfied, I was right.
You guys, it's been a long day. We got home a little while ago. I'm just winding down for the night. I look tragic right now. My hair is still like damp in places, and I keep getting ads on my phone that's like, if your hair like dries like super weird and wavy in chunks and then straight in other chunks, you might have curly hair. And then I think, oh, maybe I need to invest in like curly hair stuff just to give it a go and see if I have somewhat. I do think I have naturally like more wavy hair, especially when my hair is shorter. I can get it to be naturally wavy, but I just feel like I need to do something with it. I need products to put in it to like help, because it's a mess if I blow dry it. I don't know how you blow dry your hair and it not just be like an oil slick. Why does my hair always get so oily when I blow dry it? If I let it air dry, if I put product in it, let it air dry, it's fine. But it ends up being like this just mess, which this is river hair, so I can't expect much. But this is literally like how it looks, I feel like, sometimes out of the shower too, and I'm like... Anyways, hair update, because I don't know, I just think hair with hairy werewolves. Also, throwback to last year? Oh my gosh, it's been that long? Yeah, I think it was last year when I did my werewolf pictures. No. Yeah, it was, because I read the creature features. I kind of want to reread those this year. Those were a lot of fun. But anyways, yeah, Chandler Baker's werewolf one, I think it was called Big Bad. And so I did looks based off of each creature feature, and I did a werewolf. So if you guys want to see me as a werewolf. Yeah, a little fun werewolf thing for this video. But we indeed went to the river today. It was fun. It's also 100 days of Halloween Happies. Was it day 17? I could be wrong on the date, but the theme is feeds my soul. And what better way to feed your soul for the day than to relax at the river with your werewolf books, your friends, sunshine. I mean, the sunshine is... but... yeah, and just chill on the river. We have like the prettiest river, and I just love it so much. But yeah, it was a really good day with friends. It's been a rough summer, and I feel like I've barely been able to hang out with my friends, and so we didn't get to do a whole lot of catching up because the kids just wanted to swim and go, 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 but it was still a really good time. And I did not really get any reading done at the river. It would have been such a beautiful day too, but it was just busy. I think me and James are planning to go back soon, so I might have to take some books to like read that day, because it was one of those like sunny days where it's sunny, so sometimes when the sun is beating down on you, it's like kind of hot and you want to like, you know, do a little dip in the river. But then it's like you can just sit there and just enjoy the weather and just feel so nice, like you're not just a miserable sitting in your chair. But the water was a little chilly, I'm not gonna lie. And this was sadly our first time to the river this year, which, yeah, it's just so sad. The summer really just got away from us. Anyways, yeah, but my activity, spend time in nature prompt, is complete for the werewolf. And I flipped through this at the river, as you guys probably would have seen, and please don't mind my nails. They're chippy from the river now. But I was so intrigued at the river, because I remember whenever I checked this out, I was like, oh, it's illustrated. I didn't know that. But at the river, flipping through it, I was like, oh, that's so cool. It like counts down from January to December, and then there's like an incident with the werewolf every full moon. Just right up my alley. You guys know I love full moons. I had so much fun with this book. We got home. Oh, sidebar. Sorry, guys. I'm all over the place, but another sidebar crazy story. We finally had left because my friends had left, and the river we go to is where my in-laws live. And so we've stayed a little bit longer just to like say bye to them and, you know, see them for a bit. And when we were leaving and heading down the road, someone down the road had like leaves burning or whatever, and it's kind of hot anyways, so it's probably not the best time to be burning brush, but some of it had went up into the tree right above it, and like the tree was on fire. It was wild. I did video it, so I'll show you guys, but everybody was kind of out there like losing their minds and like trying to figure out how to tame this fire and all of that. And the boys were in the backseat of the car eating chips, and I was eating my spicy chicken salad I made and packed in the cooler for the river. Yes, we got home and I was intrigued with this book, and I started it and I could not put it down, and I finished it all tonight, which is perfect because I thought I would come home from the river and be beat and not be able to complete a book today. And I'm like, I need to be completing these books every day because I'm just getting myself today and tomorrow for the Werewolf. So yeah, I finished this one. I would give it 5 stars. It is a book. It is a story. Is it a full-fledged novel? It is definitely more of like a novella. It, is 127 pages. Honestly, would have been perfect for the 24-hour horror-a-thon. So if you participate in that, highly suggest this. I think you'll have so much fun with it. It's illustrated and it's absolutely beautiful. The story itself is really cool. I mean, it is about this town that has some pretty shitty people and then also some good ones, but there is werewolf attacks every single full moon, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they're like, that's a mythical creature, like this is not a werewolf, but they keep seeing these bloody footprints or like paw prints, and we get to see these, or we get to read these really gory attacks every full moon, and then when one of the attacks doesn't go the werewolf's way, people in the town start putting things together. So there's the people who are believing that there's a werewolf, and then there's the people who still don't believe that, and they think it's just like this full moon killer that's coming, and like maybe just like a traveler that's coming in and killing people. But there's so many references in it too about how some of the people who think it is, or there's a certain scene that we get. There's a guy, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but it's so cool. But there's a guy at like this diner, and he says a customer comes in, a familiar face from the small town that he knows and is very familiar to him, and he's like, oh, do you want, some coffee? And he says yes. He turns around, and in the shiny coffee pot, he sees the man become a werewolf. And so it gives you that like kind of mystery element of then you're trying to figure out who in town is the werewolf. And I'm not gonna lie, I did guess and I was correct very early on, but it was such a fun journey still. I really, really enjoyed it, especially for a novella from Stephen King. I feel like after reading Joyland and then this one, reading some of his shorter work, I am definitely feeling like I finally really get what people say when they're like, he's too wordy, because I feel like I've really been enjoying these, and I think it's because they've been so fast-paced. There's still his writing, there's still such good stories, but yeah, they're more fast-paced, they're not as wordy, and I feel like I can accomplish them a lot quicker than I can some of his other ones that are just like so much. Joyland and this one are definitely good beginner Stephen Kings, I think. But, you guys, that is my update. A little bit of a longer one, just because I know that this is going to be a shorter vlog, you guys. We've already got our activity prompt done. We already have book 1 done, which I did want to talk about. I know I mentioned the prompts earlier, but yeah, spend time in nature. We got our activity prompt done. But the other 2 book prompts that I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned earlier, is Wolf Involved. So this is Wolf Involved, and also Special Edition or Alternate Cover, which is also this. There is, if you Google the cover of Cycle of the Werewolf by Stephen King, there's different copies. This was just a novella without the illustrations, and then this one has the illustrations, so it's really cool. This is a really cool copy. I definitely recommend this one. And it's still very fast-paced, easy to read. I read it physically, and it went by very, very fast. But with that being said, I am still going to be reading Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But I'm going to go wash my face and literally throw myself in bed because I am so tired, and I don't know what's on the agenda for tomorrow. I have so much stuff to get done around here. I have editing to get done. I kind of want to get back into my steps. I've been doing so good this week on getting on the treadmill while I'm editing my videos. It's been like a new goal of mine, and I've been doing really good with it. But yesterday I didn't, because one of my back of my calves were hurting so bad that I was like, I have to take a day break. And then today we went to the river, so I was just like, oh, I'm gonna get exercise swimming with the boys, and it's a pretty quick current, so it's a workout going up and then floating down, and going back up and floating down. I kind of want to get back into that. Besides that, it's probably just gonna be a productivity day, getting stuff done around the house and getting my steps in. But I will see you guys then, and I can't wait for this one. I really wanted to start it tonight. There's just something about starting a book before you go to bed, but then you never know if it's going to keep you up all night, so I need to go to bed. Fresh out of the shower, letting my hair do its thing, air dry like usual, and I need to update you guys. Currently, watching sprints to help keep me productive and motivated, hold a little bit of accountability on my reading because it's been such a slow day. Yeah, Katie has sprints right now. Her channel is I Would Rather Be Reading. You should definitely check out her channel if you don't already, because she offers so many sprints. She sprints like all the time. And it just really helps motivate me. I'm kind of a lurker a lot of the time, but I utilize sprints all the time. But yeah, you guys know I finished this book yesterday, and I know it's not, oh my gosh, it does not want to focus on me today. It's the lighting, and I apologize. I'll just be a minute. But I didn't really mention yesterday the fact that I took a day break in this readathon because I had other books to like tackle. And now that I'm back in, and then we had like the river day where I didn't really read much, and then I just like read this so fast. But now I'm having a day where I'm just kind of like relaxing. I'm like, yesterday was busy. It was a lot. I usually feel this way after socializing. I'm just like out the count for a couple days. So I'm going through it today, you guys, trying to just jump back in full swing. But I have made it a little over 100 pages into Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones. This is my werewolf, I think involved or something like that, I think is the prompt, although these are both werewolf involved, but I used this one for like the special edition or like alternate cover, where this was my wolf involved. But I am falling down a Stephen Graham Jones black hole right now. I did the same thing with Paul Tremblay, which is so funny because Paul Tremblay actually is on the cover. He quoted, "Smart, original, thrilling, horrifying, and human." And it's really cool. But this is a book from Stephen Graham Jones from, is it 2015, I think? 2016, I was close. And I seen this cover a long time ago, and this was back when I was like, I really want to read Stephen Graham Jones, and I still hadn't, but this really intrigued me. Although, if I haven't said it already, werewolves have just never been a favorite horror subgenre for me. They just haven't. You know, I'm a vampire girly. I like my vampires, and I like haunted things, so like paranormal. You know, I like different type of like creatures, like the whole creature features that they did last year, which I would love a round 2 of, and I'm kind of like crossing my fingers that we get something like that again. I loved, and there was a werewolf book, like I think I did mention already in this video, but it still has just never been a huge favorite one of mine. So I've kind of been like about the werewolf card, but I have read, I think it was by Rachel Harrison. Didn't she have one? And I can't even think of what it's called off the top of my head. I swear I see people reading it like all the time, and I read it a year or two ago, and I liked it, but it wasn't anything like groundbreaking for me. Yeah, such sharp teeth. I did give it 4 stars, so I did really like it. It just isn't an all-time favorite for me, and I really think it is the fact that werewolf or werewolves are not a favorite subgenre for me, but she has quite a few that I really want to get to. I've heard mixed reviews about The Return. I've heard good things about Black Sheep, and I've really wanted to read Cackle from her because it's a witchy read, and then her new one, So Thirsty, that's coming out soon. Sidebar, I need to check out her work some more. But yeah, I've read that, and then I read Chandler Baker's Big Bad, and again, I want to say I gave that one like 3 or 4 stars. But what I will say is I ate this up. I loved this so much, and now I'm really liking this. It took me a minute, and I feel like that's why I didn't check in with you guys, because I was like back and forth on, do I like this? Do I not like this? And I kept thinking it maybe was like the werewolf stuff, but then I was like, this is such a unique take on werewolves that I don't think it's that. And I think I figured out what it is. I think getting into this story, I was a little all over the place and just like, do I like this or not? Am I gonna like these people? And now I'm like invested in their story. So this follows a boy, now I'm thinking about it. Has it even mentioned his name? I feel like we've gotten the other people's names quite a bit. Yeah, now I can't even think of what his name is. The hard part is that we have kind of like this first person account going on, and it's this coming of age story of this boy who is raised in a family of werewolves. And we have his grandpa and then his aunt and his uncle, who were his mom's brother and sister. So I say aunt and uncle, but they're not married, they're brother and sister. Libby and Darren. I feel like we get to learn a lot of like the werewolf like folklore and stories and stuff from the grandpa, and then we get to hear a little bit from like Libby and Darren as well, but they're just like such a wholesome group, although this is so gruesome and gory. My god. There's been a couple parts where I'm just like, you know, and I really like the chapters where we have like his first person account of what is going on. The story just really flows. It's a fun time. But then every other chapter is like from a narrator standpoint. So pretty much like a third person, where it's really strange because it's almost like it's, now that I think about it, I'm psyching myself out. Does it never say his name? Because in the chapters where it's like from the narrator's point of view, it just calls Libby and Darren aunt and uncle. Like the aunt did this, the uncle did this, or the uncle said this. The main character himself, he's always just known as like something else. Like in one chapter they refer to him as the biologist. Another chapter they refer to him as the criminal. Another one I think is like the prisoner, and like they're like funny takes on like his personality of what just happened in the previous chapter, but it's still just like so confusing. And at first I hated it, and I was like bouncing back and forth between chapters to the story that I was loving to then going to this narrator who's talking about them, and like it's just this third person perspective and just the wording of everything. But I will say the more you get into the story, the more you're kind of getting the hang of it, and it's a little bit more entertaining because I feel like we get some really cool side stories in those chapters about some more family lore, werewolf lore, and things like that. It was really strange. I could see people, I don't know if I would say DNFing, but definitely maybe not liking this story because of that. Because it's kind of jarring, like going from a chapter that you're so invested and then jumping into a chapter where it's a little off-putting if you don't like the like third person account. And yeah, it's very different from the Stephen Graham Jones that I have read, which isn't a lot, but it's different for me. And yeah, it just took me a while to kind of figure out if I liked it or not, but I am really liking it now. I am going to keep reading with sprints, but we are about to have dinner. James just ran to get dinner. And we're going to watch Ginger Snaps, and I'm so excited. That is the night Werewolf reads and werewolf movies, and it's just a chill day. This is how I'm going to like wrap up this video. But I will be back tonight or tomorrow at some point, hopefully, after I finish this. Thankfully, neither one of these are super long, so I do feel like it won't take me long to get through it and update you guys on my thoughts and, you know, how I'm feeling.
Hello, Allie. Just joining now, but need some reading motivation or accountability so I don't fall behind on my readathon TBR. Currently reading Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones. What readathon are you participating in? I would love to know. Let me see. So let's look into Mongrels. And, ooh, it's this one. Ooh, cover. Creepy. For sure. It's giving me the vibes of like if Clifford the Big Red Dog was like having a bad day. It's a fantasy horror. It says it's a gripping and emotional journey that will resonate deeply with readers who crave stories about identity, family, and the struggles of those living on the fringes of society, particularly those who appreciate a blend of dark fantasy and coming-of-age themes. Interesting. Definitely not a book I would have been able to guess anything about, to be honest. All right, let me write this down. All right, reading Mongrels. Perfect. But yes, I hope we will be able to help you stay motivated. I hope you will be able to get a lot done. I will keep checking in with you.
Alright, you guys, it's a wrap on the werewolf vlog. Ginger Snaps was phenomenal. Such a good time. And so was this book. I had such a good time with it. I honestly did not think I was going to finish it. We watched Ginger Snaps through the second sprint and ate dinner and stuff. And then part of the way through the third sprint. Oh my god, it's not gonna focus again. My camera hates me tonight. My camera hates the lighting tonight. But yeah, and then a little bit through the third sprint, and then I just picked this up and I flew through it to the point to where I just had like a little bit left. So I did go ahead and stay up because I was like, I'm not going to bed until I finish this. I'm just gonna finish it. And I rather enjoyed myself. The more, I feel like this is a book where you just have to really give it a chance because the more and more you read it, I feel like the more and more you'll get invested. I did anyways. Came to really love this family and feel for this family. And also, I will always say this. This back section has like a PS about the author, and then he wrote a little bit about the book. And I will always say, if you read a Stephen Graham Jones, do not skip the acknowledgments or any section, if he includes anything in the back, read it. You will not regret it. I cried at the end of My Heart is a Chainsaw, a book by him. You guys may have seen it in I think two vlogs now, because I've read it twice. I cried at the end of the book both times and then calmed down, read the acknowledgments, and bawled my ass off again. He just has such a way with words, and you can just tell he cares so much about the people around him and in his life, and it's so inspiring, but also just like seeing how meaningful he is about his books and the work that he puts into it is just like, it's just next level. I loved it. I forgot to mention earlier, but there's a couple times reading this book where I was like, I'm reading a Stephen King book right now. Like, it just reminded me of reading a Stephen King book. And I think in particular, this one, writing style-wise, really reminded me of Joyland, which I just read in my clown video. And I think it's the coming of age, which has always been one of my favorites from Stephen King. So getting that in this too, I just really, really loved. It just really reminded me of a coming of age story from Stephen King that has a little mix of horror in it. Yeah, I had such a good time with it. I came to really love this family, and he talks about in the back how he read an Anne Rice book. In 1987, at the fever pitch of Anne Rice's tragic vampires, a film came out that challenged our ideas of elite monsters. Near Dark. It talks about how it was a family of vampires who weren't wearing like high velvet collars, sneering at all the cattle herded together at the cocktail parties. Instead, they were living in a series of stolen vans with blacked out windows, just driving from town to town, using different scams to lure victims out into the darkness for a little teeth on neck action. He talks about how they weren't dealing with feuds and like your typical vampire things. They were just a family of vampires trying to make it and living the term check by check, but like for them, like feed by feed and just trying to just get by. And that's exactly what this is. This is about, like I mentioned earlier, coming of age of this boy and this werewolf family, and then he is hitting the road because we learn that as a werewolf, you can't stay in one place. Like, you have to just keep moving because something's always going to happen. And one of my favorite parts of this was quoting, and I wish I remembered where it was at. This isn't my copy, so I can't like annotate it, but he talked about how one thing to know about werewolves is that they never grow up. And it was because the aunt and uncle, who are brother and sister, were just like bickering like back and forth. And the uncle, like every time they go to a new place, just makes like these mistakes that are just sometimes like, so just like, oh my gosh, why did you do that? And they're like, we have to move again. Like, why? Like, and just in that moment of just being like, you know, one thing to know about like werewolves, like they never grow up. They're just like a child forever because that's just like their personalities. That's who they are. And it just, there's so many moments where you're just like, oh my God, why would you do that? But like at the same time, like I just enjoyed these characters so much. I loved every single one of them so much for all their flaws and quirks and, you know, things. And I actually really enjoyed the werewolf lore in this. I found it super interesting, and everything about it, and every side character, even the characters that were like thrown in the book in the middle and even towards the end, I just thought that they were so unique and just different, and they weren't like, you're just like, oh, here we go again, more characters or more this or more. It was just like, I don't know, they just all meshed together really well. And I was sad that in parts of the story, like, we no longer got certain characters anymore. It was just like they have come to this area, we met somebody, and then they had to pick up and leave again. And I was like, no, I want that character to go with them. I liked that character, you know? I loved it so much. I think I'm going to be landing at a 5-star. And I really didn't think that this was going to be a 5-star for me because I was so back and forth. And I'm not going to lie, the alternating chapters with the points of views and stuff like that, it's still weird. It was a weird time, but by the end, you become so accustomed to it that like it's not, I feel like, a big deal. I did anyways. I just kind of went with it, and it got easier and easier to jump back and forth between the two as I went on. And it is, I think, a little under 300 pages, so it's a pretty quick read. So good. I really, really enjoyed it. It definitely was more of kind of like a literary horror, coming of age take on werewolves. So keep that in mind. And like I just said, I just don't want to give too much away because it is a shorter read, but yeah, a lot going on in that. I will say though, the last thing, because I did not want to leave this out, is if you haven't read this, and you're very squeamish to like gory, gruesome details, you might want to stay away from it. But also, there is a lot of animal deaths in this book, and I don't want to spoil that for anybody, but I feel like going into it knowing it's a werewolf book, it's kind of a known thing that werewolves usually will attack other animals, and people. I mean, there's that too in this. It can be gruesome, like any type of creature read, but the amount of animal deaths in this was quite alarming, and I know that there is a big group of people out there who steer away from any type of books that have animal death. So I just wanted to throw that out there for any of those triggers, because there's quite a bit in this, and it does describe it in detail. So I read some werewolf books. I completed both of my prompts of werewolf involved and the alternate cover or different special edition or whatever. And then I also spent some time in nature at the river with friends and family, and had a really good 2 days doing this. This was very quick, fast-paced. Both of these were such quick reads, but I have 2 5-star werewolf books. Who am I? That is where I'm leaving you guys. That is my little wrap-up, and I get to take a quick detour back into my clown video now that you guys probably have already seen if you're watching this one now. But I do have to do a quick detour tomorrow back into my clown video. I have one more clown book to read, and then I just have my Raven card to complete for the full moon readathon. So I'm doing pretty good. I will have a few days left to do that, so I'm proud of myself. This has been such a fun readathon. But yeah, I will leave you guys there. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any more werewolf recs for me, movie or book, let me know. Drop them down below. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.